condition that's based on more than one specific Boolean expression. So for example, in here, I'm going to ask a person to enter their student ID number, and I'm going to do a little bit of validation. So I know that in MCPS, student ID numbers should be 6 digits. Okay. I've read this ID in as an integer, so I know it's got to be bigger than this, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's got to be smaller than this to be 6 digits, right? Because those are the two rollover points where it would no longer be 6 digits. So I'm going to write a condition for both of those things. So I'm going to say if this guy is bigger than this, 3, 4, 5, and this guy is less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you could be a real student. So let's validate and see if this works. Okay, so let's try a real one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It could be real. Let's try a smaller one. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Gotta be down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now output. Okay, let's try a 7-digit one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. Okay, so that is checking. So I have here this thing, this and, we call that a logical operator. This entire condition will only evaluate to true if both this and this evaluate to true. If either one or both of them are false, then this overall thing is false. Okay? So what if I wanted to check the opposite of this? Well, there's some other logical operators. So if I wanted to check the opposite, the negated version of this, you are not a real student, I have some options. So one thing I can do is I can write it in the positive way like I just had, and I can parenthesize it and go out here and stick a not, which means evaluate this. If it's true, this will flip it to false. If it's false, this will flip it to true. So let's try this and verify. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't get output because that would be possibly a real ID number. Let's try it with 5. You are not a real student, okay? So I can not this whole thing, or I can check the opposite of it. And so here's what that would look like. Let me undo this down here. All right. All right, so the opposite of this right here is greater than or equal to, and the opposite of this I'm sorry, I messed up here. Ooh. The opposite of this is less than or equal to. I don't know what I'm talking about. And the opposite of this is greater than or equal to. And if we imagine these numbers as like on a number line, then being between them means you're on this line. Being less than this, you're over here, and greater than this, you're over here. So those two are not continuous, right? They have a gap in the middle. So it can't be both things at the same time. It would be one or the other. So I'm going to change this to an or, which are these pipes. When I write an or, that's a different logical operator. That means that if this is true, or this is true, or both are true, which can't happen when we're talking about this kind of number, then this whole thing will be true. Only if both of these are false will this whole thing be false. So let's try this and make sure it works. All right, so let's try a 6-digit one first. Now output. Now let's try a 7-digit one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You are not a real student. Okay. If you ever want to use more comparison operators, so maybe you say this, maybe we'll ask them for their grade as well. Get this out of here. So if this is that between these, okay, or the grade is less than 0, we'll say that's for kindergarten, or grade is greater than 12, then they're not a real student. If I want to force precedence on these, because right now they'll just go left to right, and that'll make any one of these things being true, make this whole thing go true, I can add parentheses just like I would in math. So I'm going to check this as a separate thing, and I'm going to check this as a separate thing. And now it should make its decision based on both of those. So if I enter, let's see, a real ID number and a good grade, I don't get the message. If I enter a real ID number and a bad grade, I get the message, and so forth. Okay. If I have ors and ands in a complex condition and I don't add parentheses, it actually does the anding first and then the ors.